Hi, I'm Erin and this is lesson 2 in beginner fiddle. So today we're going to be concentrating on making the notes and we'll be starting our first tune. So at the start we have our fiddle and our bow. Our bow needs to have rosin on it, which I talked about in the first video. And today we are going to be working on, first of all, we're going to be working on the notes on the violin. Here is the part of the violin where we play with our fingers. And our first finger, which we covered in the last video, goes here on each string. Okay, and then we want to move on to studying our second finger. So our first finger, this is our G string. And then our first finger is A. Then we want to add our second finger. And then our third finger. So if you look at the distance in between those, first finger is up here, then there's a larger distance between first and second, closer distance between second and third. Do this on every string, same. First D, E, first finger, then up a wee bit is F, and then third finger is G, which is closer to F. And then the next string, A. First finger is B, next finger is C, next finger is D, then up is E, first finger is F, next finger is G, and the next finger is A. And then the highest note is B, but we don't have to learn how to use it next. So if you're able to hold your violin across your chest and play each note and stretch your fingers across, 1, 2, so plucking and stretch your fingers across, plucking the strings lightly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Try to get your fingers in the right place, and we want to be able to learn the notes. They go up in alphabetical order, starting at G, going up to A, and going back to G again. So we start on the G string. We have G, back to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, back to A, B, C, D, back up to E, F, G, and back to A. So that is how it works. Here I'm inserting a chart to show you where all the notes are and where to put your fingers and what the notes are called. I want you to pause the video and write out this chart so you have it on a piece of paper so you can refer back and forward to it. So pause the video now and do that. Okay, next, when you have your sheet beside you with all of the notes and the positions on them, I want you to refer back to those sheets and take your bow. Remember how we learned to hold it in the first video? Your thumb underneath, your finger supporting the pinky supporting the edge, your next finger, and your next finger. Okay, so next I want you to try to play, as you practiced last week, you've practiced playing your notes from the start to the finish of the bow with no fingers on. Next I want you to try to play one string, then moving up and playing on the same string, but putting your finger, referring to your chart, on the right place. We're doing this on G, and our first finger is going on, which is A. Then we refer to our chart again to look at the distance between the next two fingers, and it should sound like this. This note is B. And the next note is C. Looking at our chart. So try to play each note one by one. Don't feel the pressure to be able to play them all in one go. So just work hard until it sounds just like this, or close enough. Okay, next I want you to move on to the next string and do the same thing again. Play this string, which is D. Then playing your first finger, E. next finger, F. Your next finger, which is G. Okay, so when we look at our chart, it can help us figure out the distance between all the fingers. Now that we have done the first two strings, I'm going to go on and do the next strings. Play along with me if you can, but pause the video if you need to. It doesn't matter. It's hard to pick up the piece at the start, so do it at your own pace and take your time. Make sure you're getting the right chinning in the right position. A. B. C. D. Then we're on to E, F, G, and A. This is where the position my fingers are in. Just a reminder, the first finger is a bit far from the tip. Then we move a wee bit further, and then is our second finger, and pretty close to that, just a wee bit up, is our third finger. It's the same way all along those strings. Okay, so when we look at our chart, there's been a note that we've been skipping. This isn't the note on the A string that we use often. So when we're playing on the A string, we play A, B, and what you've learned is C sharp and D. But when we look at our chart, there's two C's. There's C and C sharp. C sharp is the same position as the second fingers on all the rest of the strings, but the C on this, the actual second finger, is slightly closer to your first finger. So you play A, B, and then C. But if you're playing C sharp, so this is C, if we're playing C sharp, we move it up a wee bit to beside our third finger, and that is A, B, C sharp, and D. Okay, so now that we can play all the notes one by one, and we have our chart showing us where the notes are and we've covered how they should sound, we are going to move on to a tune. So I'm going to put in a photo of the tune Happy Birthday in front of me now. I want you to pause the video, and I'd like you to write that down on a piece of paper and put it beside your finger chart so you're able to look at it as well as we learn this tune. So you can follow the notes of Happy Birthday and look at your finger chart to refer and make sure that you know where the note is. Okay. So in this tune, you may notice in these notes that are here right now, there is a capital letter D and there's a lowercase letter d. The lowercase letter d means lower, and it is your open string, your second string from the left. Then the capital letter D is high D, and it is the D that you play on the A string when you play A, B, C, D. So D without the capital letter is, and D with the capital letter and the apostrophe beside it is. And if you can find that on your finger sheet, it would be really helpful. So you'll be able to refer. And we're going to go through this tune slowly. We can see that it starts on a D, an E, and a D. So we'll play these first notes first, slowly. All these notes are the same pace. So let's play the first four notes. And then the next two notes of that line are G and F. Okay, on to the next line, same four notes at the start again. And then A and G. And then the start of the next line is. After the two Ds, the next note is a high D, and then B and G, and then F, E. And then two C's, not C sharp, remember here on your fingerboard. And then B, G, A. And a G at the end that you hold for slightly longer. Okay, so if you're able to work slowly through that song and be able to play every note, it doesn't matter what rhythm you're playing at the moment, as long as you can get through every note, and if you can find every note on your fingerboard and play that for the next lesson, that will be great. So at the end of this lesson, we are going to work on learning our notes on our fingerboard and working through Happy Birthday, finding the notes on our fingerboard page and playing them on the violin, getting a good solid sound from when we play with the bow. Okay, thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something from this lesson. Thank you.